Deep beneath the waves, a silent war is being fought for the future of the human race. You likely believe your internet comes from satellites in space, but the truth is far more grounded and dangerous. Over 99% of all international data travels through a web of thin fiber-optic cables resting on the jagged ocean floor. These digital arteries carry trillions of dollars in financial transactions and every secret message sent between world leaders. At Visual Link, we are investigating the terrifying vulnerability of the undersea cables that keep our modern world alive. Before we reveal how a single anchor or a specialized submarine could trigger a global collapse, please share and subscribe. If these cables were cut, the internet wouldn't just slow down. Entire nations would go dark and the global economy would freeze instantly. The world is currently home to over 500 active cable systems stretching across nearly 1 million miles of seabed. Each cable is roughly the diameter of a garden hose, protected only by a thin layer of steel wire and plastic. If you find these investigations into our fragile infrastructure essential, make sure to share and subscribe to stay informed. In a 3D view of the Atlantic floor, you can see these lines converging at a few critical choke points near the coast. Nations like Russia and China have developed specialized deep-sea submersibles designed to linger near these vital connections. The threat isn't just physical destruction, it is the silent tapping of the lines to intercept global data streams. Specialized spy subs can attach sensors to the cables, capturing the light signals that carry our most private information. Imagine a world where your country's banking system, GPS, and emergency services are disconnected in a single afternoon. This isn't a hypothetical fear. In recent years, mysterious accidents have already severed cables near the Arctic and the Baltic Sea. When a cable is cut in deep water, it can take weeks or even months for specialized repair ships to find and fix the break. During that time, the affected region is thrown back into the pre-digital age, creating mass panic and economic ruin. The Undersea Cable War is a game of high-stakes chess played in total darkness, thousands of feet below the surface. Governments are now racing to build dark backup cables and satellite constellations like Starlink to provide a safety net. But the sheer volume of data moved by fiber optics cannot yet be matched by any technology in the sky. We are dependent on a physical network that is almost impossible to guard and incredibly easy to sabotage. The cables are often damaged by fishing trawlers, but security experts fear that accidental cuts are becoming a cover for hybrid warfare. A coordinated attack on just 10 key locations could effectively end the internet as we know it for half the planet. Visual Link is dedicated to showing you the invisible foundations of your life, from the ocean floor to the edge of space. As the tension between superpowers rises, the safety of these cables becomes the most important security issue of our time. We must rethink how we protect our digital arteries before the first great disconnection begins. The ocean is no longer just a barrier. It is a battlefield where the next world war might be won or lost without a single shot on land. Knowledge of these vulnerabilities is the first step in demanding more resilient and secure global infrastructure. The physical reality of the internet is much more fragile than the cloud marketing would have you believe. Every time you load a web page, the data is screaming through a glass tube at the bottom of the Pacific Ocean. A single malicious diver with a hydraulic cutter could theoretically silence the communications of an entire metropolis. The logistics of protecting millions of miles of deep-sea cable is a nightmare that no navy on Earth has solved yet. We are seeing the rise of seabed warfare, where drones are deployed to sit silently next to cables for years at a time. These drones act as sleeper cells, waiting for the signal to sever the connection when a conflict turns hot. The economic fallout of a major cable outage would dwarf the impact of recent global health crises or supply chain delays. Without the ability to verify bank transfers or clear international trades, the global supply of food and fuel would stall. This vulnerability is the ultimate zero-day exploit, but instead of code, it involves physical hardware at the bottom of the sea. The cost of installing these cables is in the billions, but the cost of losing them is literally incalculable. We are seeing a move toward digital sovereignty, where countries try to route cables only through friendly territorial waters. However, the geography of the ocean floor and the location of major cities makes this almost impossible to achieve. Visual Link is pulling back the curtain on the cables you never see but rely on every single second of your day. If you value the transparency of our global systems, please help us grow by hitting that share and subscribe button. The deeper we look into the infrastructure of the world, the more we realize how close we are to the edge of chaos. The history of undersea cables goes back to the telegraph, but the stakes have evolved from words to the world's wealth. In the 1850s, the first cable across the Atlantic changed communication forever, but today it sustains our very existence. Modern fiber optics use lasers to bounce data through glass strands thinner than a human hair at the speed of light. The repeaters that boost these signals are located every 50 miles and require their own dedicated power supply from the shore. If the power to these repeaters is cut, the entire cable goes dark, even if the fiber itself remains perfectly intact. Superpowers are currently mapping every inch of these lines to ensure they have the first strike advantage in a conflict. The defensive technology is struggling to keep up as stealthy underwater drones become cheaper and easier to deploy. We must treat these cables as the critical life support systems they are rather than just private commercial ventures. The lack of international law surrounding the protection of undersea infrastructure is a glaring hole in global security. Private companies often keep cable locations public so ships don't hit them, but this also creates a target list for enemies. Visual Link will continue to track the movements of deep-sea research vessels that seem to linger in strange places. Your awareness of this silent war is the best way to pressure leaders into prioritizing the security of our connections. The ocean is vast and cold, but it is currently the most important server room on the planet. We are all connected by these thin glass threads, and we all share the risk if they are ever severed. The future of the internet isn't in the air or the stars, but in the mud and the silt of the abyss. Let us hope that the silent war remains silent, and that the digital arteries of the world remain open and flowing. The technology that connects us should not be the same technology that allows us to be controlled or silenced. As we look toward the horizon, we must remember to look down at the depths that hold our society together. The deep sea is the last frontier of human conflict, and the cables are the prize everyone is fighting over. Stay informed, stay alert, and keep watching the systems that run the background of your life. The world is more connected than ever, but that connection is more fragile than we care to admit. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the Undersea Cable War and the future of global data. Your support of Visual Link ensures that we can keep exposing the hidden gears of the modern world. Remember to subscribe and share this video with those who think the internet is just a signal in the air. The truth is much deeper and much more interesting than the simple version we are often told. Keep your eyes on the data and your mind on the physical world that makes it all possible. We will see you in the next investigation into the high-stakes reality of our technical existence. The signal is strong for now, but the war beneath the waves is only just beginning to heat up. Visual Link signing off from the edge of the abyss, where the cables meet the core of human innovation. The end of this story is the beginning of your new perspective on every click and every call you make.